And then you just, what's that in Filipino? Tumuwad. Tumuwad lang tayo. We just, bend forward. So it's all the poses you like in one difficult movement. Nakabuka ka na, nakatuwad ka pa. Isn't that great? Hi guys, so I hope you've seen the first part of my stretching video. So today this is the second half. If in the first half you saw me doing the Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salutation A, sige fine, let's call it Sun Salutation A, and the Warrior series, today I'm gonna show you how I do the Goddess pose. I know, right? It just sounds fancy and goddessy, but believe me, you won't feel like a goddess while doing it. It's like the hardest thing on earth. So after the goddess, you transform into a surfer. So after the goddess pose, I do some surfer lunges. And then after that, I do the mat exercises that actually target in particular the lower core and the upper core, because if you see naman my midsection, you won't believe that I do core exercises. I'm like so fat. Before, I used to do the core exercises after the run, but I realized that doing it before actually makes the run a lot easier and more pleasurable, because yun na nga, I wasn't running on just the legs alone. Diba nga, you can't run on legs alone. Parang, man cannot live on bread alone. So man cannot run on legs alone. Remember? Okay, so I've already done the first part of my stretches. Now this is the second part. Like I said, we start with we don't start. We start the second half of the show after the intermission with a goddess pose. It sounds fancy, but it's really, it doesn't feel fancy. So how do you do that? This really primes your leg, you'll see. Let me just adjust my clothes because I'm not perfect. Kitang-kita niyo na yung flaps ko, nakakaya. So I just step like this, and then just make sure your feet are, what do you call this? What do you call this? Your feet are facing away from each other, and then you bend your legs down like this. Just make sure that your feet are under your knees, okay? And then again, it's about balance. Life is about balance. Nakakabait ho ang yoga. And then this is already the goddess pose. To be exact, it's already the goddess pose. But since we are extra, I do some twists while I'm in it. So basically, I just put my hands on my knees and then twist my body to one side. Around 8 breaths. And then to the other. Because that's. Now let's get into the full articulation of the pose. Basically, so you have your knees like this. You lift your heel off the ground and hold it. Wait, I'm falling. So you have it like this. You lift your knee off the ground and hold this pose. You can have your arms or your hands in prayer, or find your mudra. Mudra is a real term, hindi ko sabihin nun, mommy. So hold this for 10 counts. And I really feel it working my legs already. Engage your core. It's hard to talk when you're doing this, guys. Hope you appreciate it. And then after this, let's counter all the stretches that we have done to our hips and our legs by doing the Prosarita B. The Prosarita B is when you have your legs spread open, and we love spreading our legs open. Yun naman, hindi ako napapagkamalang ho!
Cheers. Carl is a whore.
Anyway, you just turn your foot or your feet, you turn your feet the other way, meaning you have your toes closer to each other and your heels slightly more apart. In the Prosarita sequence, there are three, I believe there are three. You just really bend forward while having your legs like that, like this. You just bend on your waist, or your hips, not your waist, sorry. You bend on your hips. With the Prosarita A, you just really have your hand below your shoulders as you bend forward. But I feel that the Prosarita B feels better. Basically, that's you clasping your hands together, putting your palms together, and then you just bolster your back like that. It has some sort of like a back bend. And then you just, what's that in Filipino? Tumuwad. Tumuwad lang tayo. We just, bend forward. So it's all the poses you like in one difficult movement. Nakabuka ka na, nakatuwad ka pa. Isn't that great? So there. Again, engage everything. Engage your legs. One yoga instructor say that you get your power from the legs as you do this. Shout out to teacher Senti if she's watching this. And then after that, we'll do the mat exercises that I was telling you about. The one that targets. Alright, so now let's get into the surfer's lunge. How do you do that? Basically, you just bend one knee and then stretch the other knee to the other side, like this. So there you have it. This is already the surfer's lunge. Just make sure that your toes are facing upward to protect your knees, okay? There is a more complicated version wherein you add a bind. Let me just show you how that's done. So basically, just reach forward, wrap your hand around one thigh, and grab your other hand from the back. So this is already with the bind. It just makes sure that you are facing the right way, I guess. So sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. And then you just do it on the other side. Alright? And then of course, I also like playing with it. The one that targets the core. Because if man cannot live on bread alone, man cannot run on legs alone. We have to use our core. When I started doing, I used to do this after the run, but when I started doing this before, I felt like, I realized that it made the run easier and more pleasurable. Kasi nga, I wasn't just, hindi na lang yung legs ko yung pinupwersa ko. My carbs already doing its job also. So how do you do that? These are the mat exercises. I'm sure you've seen this before. So I just basically put my legs up. The fitness fashion, hindi yung pang X-rated. So I just put my legs up. And then I kind of like bring them down slowly 10 times without having it touch the floor. With intent, very slowly. Because it won't really work if you just, parang let it fall down. You have to really do it slowly para it does its work. Para sulit naman, nagpapakahirap ka na rin lang, gawin mo ng tama. After I do 10 of those, I get into a harder variation, which means I combine it with a crunch. Meaning, I lift my back a few inches above the floor while I do that. Bakit? Wala. Kasi gaga ko. No. Actually, because that does target the lower abdomen. I can't say abs kasi wala na akong abs. So, the lower part of the midsection of my body. Pero the crunch actually targets the upper part. So, I just do 10 of these. Yan, sabay. So, nothing touches the floor. Just my butt. So, I do 10 of these. And then, after, I just hold a half boat for 10 breaths. A half boat is if I just leave my legs a few inches above the mat and as well as my back. So I just kind of like take the sad shape of a sad banana and hold this for 10 breaths. This really engages the heart. It's not as easy as it seems. It's not as easy as it looks. But I hope you guys try it. So there you have it. Hindi ako pakahirap. I usually run at night because I want the cali all to myself. And I really can't stand the sun, even if I have just done sun salutations. And after that pala, after this whole thing, I do 60 chaturangas, but I do it on an incline, meaning mas mataas yung upper body ko than the lower body. Because, mas madali siya that way, guys, just believe me. But I do 60. Let me just remind you what the chaturanga is. It's basically the yoga push-up, wherein instead of just bending your arms arbitrarily, you boost your shoulder forward. So you bend your arms forward, like that. So 60 of those. But on an incline. Dito. Gawin natin dito. Kapag wala ako sa condition, pag natamad ako, 50 lang, 30 lang. But I usually do that. So there you have it, guys. I'm so tired. So guys, that was the second part of my stretching routine. I hope you guys give it a try ng isang buo. If you think about it, it's like a mini workout na, no? Because even before I run, sobrang pawis na ako. But believe me, for me, it works eh. Again, I'm not a trained professional. I'm not a yoga instructor. I'm not any of those things. I am just the Bekilor. And I'm just trying to do my best. So, if you guys try doing this, tell me about it. You guys tell me if what I have shown you improved your running. And I do hope that you just keep on kapit lang. Gaganda din tayo. Alam mo, ang katawan naman kasi hindi naman. Not all of us were born with sexy bodies. Minsan matalino lang tayo at saka maganda pero hindi naman sexy. So, minsan kailangan rin natin, we have to work a little to, and makikita nyo, you will have everything.